Well, since August the 14th, more than 113,000 people, mostly Afghans, have been evacuated from Kabul airport by multinational effort. Some countries like Britain, Canada and Germany have committed to resettling a few thousand of them. The US is expected to resettle some of them too, though it has not announced exact numbers. Albania has agreed to accept refugees for a time in transit to the US. So far, hundreds have arrived in the country, but the total figure will be around 4,000 people, according to the Albanian Foreign Minister. One of those new arrivals who has now reached safety in Albania is Nikbat. She's a student at the American University of Afghanistan, who's studying there on a scholarship from the Yalda Hakim Foundation. That's a charity founded by BBC World News presenter Yalda Hakim. I'm pleased to say that Nikbat joins me now, live from Tirana. Nikbat, just tell us about the journey that took you away from Afghanistan to safety.
Yeah, thank you for having me at first. As you introduced, this is Nikbat Pozada, and I'm a YHF scholar at the American University of Afghanistan, pursuing my third year of undergraduate program at this university in the major of political science and public administration. Coming to the question, the journey was good, though challenging, because leaving the country was the hardest decision I could make, because we were told to leave. I just got a call and they told me that you have an hour to go to this place, and then we were moved by buses to the airport. In the airport, we waited for 3 days until we got our flight, and then we arrived to Qatar, Doha city, and then after 3 days of waiting there, and the Qatar city was a great place. They provided every services we need. We are grateful for the accommodation and the services they provided. And after that, we got to Albania, the city of Tirana, and the journey was challenging because it was the hardest decision I could make during my whole life. It's never easy to leave a place where I've grown up in, the streets I walked in during my whole studying life, but this situation made us to make a decision, something like that.
I mean, growing up, you've only ever known Afghanistan as it was under the influence, the presence of the US and NATO forces. Did you ever imagine that this day would come when you had to leave for your own safety and for that of your family?
Well, truthfully speaking, I have never imagined a situation that Taliban will take over the city, or at least we were not thinking that they could be able to take over the capital, because there were always conflicts and fights in the provinces around. But there was not the situation was not that hard or that tough in the capital. It just took us by surprise. We tried our whole life to get an education, to prepare ourselves to serve our people in the future, to become leaders of our people. But then everything suddenly was destroyed overnight.
Yeah. And tell us about the situation where you are now. How are you being taken care of? How are you being looked after there in Albania?
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the all Albanian people, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, as well as the US Ambassador in Albania, because they welcomed us in the airport, and they just came yesterday to meet us all, the Afghan refugees who came here to Albania. And they just they took care of us, and they are still taking care of us in a very great manner. And we are thankful for the services and for the kindness of them. Okay. They are just amazing and wonderful in everything.
What do you see?
They are just hospitable people.
Where do you see your future? Do you wish to stay in Albania? Do you see your future elsewhere? Do you hope that one day you may be able to return eventually to Afghanistan?
The situation for now is very confusing and very it's too hard to make a decision of where to go. But for the time being, the hope and the thing that I see, or the thing that I think of my future is that I have to study and to finish my undergraduate, because I'm at my fifth semester of undergraduate, and I need to complete my studies, because that's the only way that I can serve my people, myself, my relatives, my family, and my whole nation.
Okay. Nikbath, we really appreciate you speaking to us here on BBC World News, and we wish you all the very best for the future. Well, joining me now is the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama. It's very good to have you with us, Mr. Rama. We heard there from just one of the many people who found safe refuge in Albania. As I understand it, Albania is offering temporary refuge to them en route to elsewhere. Do you foresee the possibility of providing a permanent sanctuary, permanent refuge to any of these people?
This is what they say. We have been invited to take them temporary, and maybe they'll be able to reach US. But in the meantime, we know that the situation is quite complicated, and with so many people applying for US visa, it may take more than what was said. And in the meantime, we know that for sure we are ready to welcome them to stay more, and if they want to settle in Albania, they can do it.
For so many, it is such a desperate situation to have had to flee their homes with very short notice, maybe just carrying what little they can manage in their hands. What is Albania doing to provide for them when they arrive?
We have been there not long ago. 30 years ago, we were the Afghans trying to get out from our own hell and reaching Europe through Italy's coast. And it has been just the very same in terms of the whole journey, in terms of the pain, in terms of the anxiety, and in terms of the known in front of us. So we are very, very keen to do it, because it's about honoring our history, our tradition, our own selves, and in the meantime, doing something that we also, I believe, owe to our kids, to grow with the belief that in this life there is a time to give and there is a time to get. And in the meantime, I repeat, we are not a rich country, but I'm very confident that we have enough to share with these people, and that we'll be together. Of course, we are not alone in that. There are many organizations. You mentioned the Alda Hakim Foundation. It's one of them, but there are others that are taking care of them and that have made really incredible efforts to get them out. And they are very much willing to accompany them in this part of the journey towards their future.
Yes. You mentioned, you acknowledge that Albania is not the richest of countries. Are you getting enough support from other wealthier nations? And if not, what kind of conversations are going on to make sure that you are not left struggling to provide for these people who you have opened your doors and your homes to?
From wealthier nations, you said? No. We are just relying for the moment in this cooperation with people that have wealthy hearts. And seemingly there are quite a considerable number of people from US, from Britain and other places that have a wealthy heart. So we have a say in Albania, heart, bread and salt, it's the core of solidarity. So they'll never miss heart, bread and salt. For the rest, we will arrange. We'll not disappear from the face of the earth because refugees trying to escape death are knocking at our doors. We welcomed 500,000 during the horrible time of the ethnic cleansing in Kosovo. 500,000 of our brothers and sisters from the other side came in Albania in such a small country. Then we were much poorer. We are in much more difficult condition, and here we are. And I think we got richer morally. We got richer in our spirit, and we learned that in this life, memory is very, very important. And maybe being too rich is also about losing some part of the memory.
We saw an image a moment ago of you greeting some of those who have fled from Afghanistan and arrived in Albania. What have they been saying to you?
No, they frankly were exhausted. They were practically looking like coming out of a very hellish tunnel. They said very few words of thank you, but we were not there to get the thanks. We were there to tell them that they could feel at home. And we simply did what we would have wished others would have done for us. So it's a very, very fulfilling moment, I think, for our country, for our people. Although not everyone is happy with that, but I think the majority of the Albanians are showing themselves extraordinary in remembering who we are and in understanding that we owe this to our children.
Okay. Edi Rama, Prime Minister of Albania, thank you very much, and I appreciate you joining us, particularly as you join us from a summit that you're attending in Slovenia at the moment. Thank you for taking the time to join us on BBC World News.
Thank you.